Hello, I'm Niall Ferguson, and you're watching European History through Modern Media. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the period from the French Revolution to World War I. We're starting off with the French Revolution. Let's take a look.
Let's abolish feudal obligations.
Haha, peasants!
We have to abolish the tithes.
Catholicism is the real religion.
We're not giving up our privileges.
Peasant!
What we're going through.
And we don't care that you're
Hey, guys, this trash talking is getting out of hand. This is supposed to be a civil tennis game between the three estates. What are we gonna do? I'm Abby Says, the official referee of this game and a sponsor of the Third Estate. We are currently on this tennis court and this fighting is getting out of hand between the three estates. We need to create a new constitution that is fair for all three estates. We will not leave this room until it is established. It is time for all of the three estates, the First, Second, and Third Estate, to unite under the values of freedom, equality, and brotherhood.
So here we can clearly see the first two estates in a battle with the Third Estate, which basically sums up the French Revolution, honestly. The people of the Third Estate were tired of being oppressed and repressed because of the government. Now the next clip that we're going to watch is going to be about Napoleon, who rose to power after the end of the French Revolution.
Welcome to Hell's Kitchen, the show where we judge the best chefs and their best dishes. Now here's the host, Napoleon Bonaparte.
Hello people of France, I am the host Napoleon Bonaparte, and today we have a very special episode of Hell's Kitchen. Chefs from all around Europe will be cooking different European dishes for me to try. So Chef Sammy, you'll be cooking a Prussian dish, Chef Lily, you'll be cooking an Austrian dish, Chef Kim, you'll be cooking a Spanish dish, and Chef Anna, you will be cooking a Russian dish.
Hello. Let's go see how they're doing. Chef Sammy, how are you doing?
Great. My bratwurst is the best. Napoleon will love my equally spread mustard.
Chef Lily.
I'm making a goulash. I know Napoleon won't be able to resist it because of my liberal use of beef and biscuits.
Chef Kim.
Hola. My rice is muy bueno. I can't wait to make another batch. It's just so good.
Chef Anna.
I'm pretty sure I've made the best thing here. I just hope I have enough time to heat it up.
I really don't know if my dish was brought together enough. I kind of feel like all my ingredients were not mixing too well together, and they were just all really segregated.
Yeah, I just don't know if my ratio was good enough. You know, next time I have to make that better and it's...
Yeah, I mean, hope my meal wasn't too overwhelming. I mean, hoping Napoleon will be able to deal with it, but you never know. I feel good.
Now it is time to try the dishes of the contestants. Chef Sammy?
Here's my bratwurst, Napoleon.
Wow, I very much like your liberal use of the mustard. I mean, it's very... very good. You can continue. Chef Lily? What have you made?
I have made Austrian goulash, sir.
Wow. Oh, I like how you have an equal amount of biscuits and meat to go along with it. It very much, it speaks to me. It speaks to my values as a person. Delicious. Good job. Chef Kim? What have you made?
Spanish rice.
Oh, well... Oh my goodness. There's so much. How could I possibly get through it all? The Spanish dish is just too hard to get through. I can't get through it. I'm sorry, Kim. No. Chef Anna.
Today I have made a traditional Russian dish. You may not be familiar with it. It is known as peanut butter.
Okay.
So.
Oh, it's so cold. It's freezing. No, get this away. Why? No, it's so cold. Go.
Thanks for joining us on Hell's Kitchen. Remember to watch next week to find out who will be the final victor.
The Empire of Napoleon stretched far and wide, and you can see that although he had an easy time conquering certain countries, he struggled with Russia and with Spain. Now, after Napoleon's rule, the conservative powers that would be held a congress called the Congress of Vienna, in which they tried to decide rules that would define Europe as a more conservative state.
All the parties have been sworn in, and I have the case file for you.
Thank you, bailiff. You may all be seated now. I don't usually like to prejudge things, but to be honest, France, you seem like a real jerk. All I'm looking for is some peace by conservative principles. You used to be so great, France. Your liberal repression was something I admired. But that revolution you had, I just don't know anymore. The plaintiff accuses you of traipsing around the continent and planting your flag in any old country that you want. Mr. Talleyrand, I am afraid to inform you that this behavior cannot and will not be tolerated nor regarded as peaceful. I must also send my best regards to Louis XVIII, as it is always nice to restore a monarch. As for the plaintiff, you may begin.
The great powers would like to argue that the French Empire was built on nothing but self-consciousness. We further feel that the French should be made to pay a large sum in reparations.
What? What the devil do you mean by self-consciousness? That kind of shogun ain't not allowed.
We have a psychoanalyst here, Your Honor. I have no idea what this means, but he has a pretty good theory. We feel that Napoleon has some personnel health issues. One of them, as we all might know, is his height, a whooping 5'6". The other doesn't seem appropriate for a televised audience. Our expert thinks that Mr. Bonaparte wanted to prove his manhood. We feel that France must be contained, that all other monarchies must be restored, so that no other man will try to prove his manhood by decimating the rest of Europe.
I see your point. We don't want to hurt France. An ugly treat will cause an ugly mess. Trust me, I know. I've seen them all.
Yes, Your Honor, we wouldn't want to back France into a corner. 700 million francs should do the job. And we should also want to divvy up some of that nice Polish territory. Tsar Alexander has been looking to build a new vacation home. I know that you've been eyeing some of that Italian land as well. Real estate markets have been truly looking up, and I believe that there's no better time than now to occupy northern Italy. Let's give some time to France. I'm sure that Mr. Talleyrand has prepared an eloquent apology for us all.
On the contrary, Your Honor, the people of France should now be held no more responsible than those of current-day Rome. Your argument is far too aggressive to instill a true peace in Europe. We must create a system to maintain peace, not choke the life out of an already volatile country. If you create suffering, you will suffer as well. Your good will bring good to all, but your revenge will kill the plants whose seeds you have sown as a man of peace. I urge you to consider a political and territorially stable Europe.
Well, as compelling as that was, you do make a point, Mr. Talleyrand. I respect your gumption. I say we chop up Poland and unite the Netherlands while we're at it. Create a loose German confederation. And if we have time, a continent of Europe will be nice.
Do you mean a sort of Congress that meets to discuss the means of keeping peace throughout the continent?
You know, that's a lot better than what I was thinking. I envisioned us all inviting Ludwig over to conduct a nice symphony for all of us. But your idea seems more practical. Of course, France cannot join yet. Hey, don't be too hard on yourself. You'll get him next time, T-Dog. Case dismissed.
Through the Congress of Vienna, Metternich and the others introduced severe repercussions onto France for her role in the Napoleonic Wars. They also tried to reinstate conservative power and restore the old balance of power that had been in Europe. Now, while this was trying to limit the effects of the French Revolution, a different type of revolution was going on: the Industrial Revolution.
Hello, my name is Karl Marx. Welcome to PBS Inside the Factory. I am here today to discuss with you the horrors of industrialization. Simply, the conditions for factory workers are horrific. As more factories were being built, businesses were in need of workers. Due to this, employers could set wages as low as they wanted because people were willing to do work as long as they got paid. People worked 14 to 16 hours a day for 6 days a week. However, the majority were unskilled workers who only received a mere 10 cents an hour. Women received 1/3 or sometimes 1/2 the pay that men received. Children received even less. Owners who were only concerned with making a profit were satisfied because labor cost less. Children were paid less than 10 cents an hour for 14-hour days of work. They were used for simpler, unskilled jobs. Children as young as 5 and 6 years old worked for 12 to 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, without recess for meals in hot, stuffy, poorly lit, overcrowded factories to earn as little as 4 shillings per week. Child labor was the cheapest labor of all. Some of these machines were so easy to operate that a small child could perform the simple, repetitive tasks. Some maintenance tasks, such as squeezing into tight spaces, could be performed more easily by children than adults. For workers, conditions were very tough and sometimes tragic. Most laborers worked 10 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, with no paid vacation or holidays. Each industry had safety hazards too. The process of purifying iron, for example, demanded that workers toiled amidst temperatures as high as 130 degrees in the coolest part of the ironworks. Under such dangerous conditions, accidents on the job occurred regularly. Workers were often abandoned from the moment an accident occurs. Their wages are stopped, no medical attendance is provided, and whatever the extent of the injury, no compensation is afforded. Injured workers would typically lose their jobs and also receive no financial compensation for their injury to pay for much-needed health care. The densely packed and poorly constructed working-class neighborhoods contributed to the fast spread of disease. The neighborhoods were filthy, roads were muddy and lacked sidewalks, houses were built touching each other, leaving no room for ventilation. Perhaps most importantly, homes lacked toilets and sewage systems. As a result, drinking water sources, such as wells, were frequently contaminated with disease. Disease ravaged through new industrial towns, especially in poor working-class neighborhoods. Poor nutrition, disease, lack of sanitation, and harmful medical care in these urban areas had a devastating effect on the average life expectancy of British people in the first half of the 19th century. Factory owners, especially those involved in the steel industry and in the coal mine industry, often would build company towns. Workers were given cheap rent in these towns to go along with their low wages. In essence, the worker was trapped. The company town afforded him a place to live, and without the job, he couldn't leave. I believe you must actively change this socio-economic system to a better form. Instead of trying to preserve the existing status quo, today there is an very unfair exploitative situation of the average workers, the proletariat by the rich elite of the world, the bourgeoisie. This system of exploitation is becoming even worse by the people's unprotesting participation in it. Because this way, the system continues to produce more and more wealth for the elite that controls it. The poor are thus enslaved even more because of the uneven distribution of wealth and the ever-increasing distance between those who own the capital and the workers who can only sell their labor. Workers, listen here. This capitalist system is not profitable for everyone, but only for those few at the top of the pyramid who enjoy immense riches. These riches are a result of the exploitation, and owning immense capital allows the elites perceptual dominance in the super-inferior interactions in society. This system needs total restructuring. In order for this restructuring to become feasible, the inherent injustices of capitalism must be eliminated. All forms of capital, and especially the critical infrastructure and production means such as land, factories, or machinery, must be distributed to the people by law. Moreover, prohibiting the ownership of capital ensures that no controlling mechanisms of exploitation can exist in the future by those who aim to accumulate excess wealth. Workers, you must take a stand against this exploitative system. I am here today calling for a revolution.
So, as we can see from that documentary, the Industrial Revolution was a horrible time for the families of the workers because of the horrible working conditions and unfair work hours, also combined with the low pay. This also caused a deep desire in the people to want to rise up against their government, and it helped in the hatred of the government that caused the resurgence of liberalism, especially in Britain in this time period. Anyways, the next thing that we'll be looking at is the several new ideologies that rose in the centuries to come.
Ryan, can we get a time check?
5 hours until the AP test.
Guys, no idea what I'm doing right now.
Obviously, Dan. Why would you
Oh
know?
my god.
Have
Seriously,
we-
Dan, we've been studying for 6 hours straight for the AP test now. How do you not know what's going on?
Cause it's like all this stuff and you just don't know. It just nothing works.
Do you know about the isms? Come on, that's like one of the main
Obviously,
points we cover in
liberalism,
trimester
it's
two.
about staying the same, alright? I
Oh
know
my God,
this.
no.
It's simple.
That's conservatism, Dan.
Dan.
Come on, you must know that conservatism is about staying the same. They used it at the Congress of Vienna. They
What?
wanted to keep the old ways,
What?
mainly absolutist powers. That's what they wanted to have. Do you not remember any of this from when Mr.
Of
Sheehy
course
was
not.
teaching it?
Ugh.
Did you
It's
even
just
listen, Dan?
PowerPoints. I did.
God.
PowerPoints just meld together. It doesn't.
Nationalism? What about nationalism, Dan?
Something about not wanting to be together, breaking apart. I don't know, anti-unity.
Breaking apart? Nationalism is all about representing that country's or nation's ideals, philosophies, culture. Everything is going to be the same. You're exact opposite of breaking apart.
It won't be on the test. It's-
Nationalism is one of
Dan.
the most important factors in most of the things that happen in
Look,
trimester
it's
two.
not important. Just forget about
You're
it.
not under. Oh.
Dan, what about communism? Have we even gone over communism yet?
Communism? Isn't that the one where it was all about the elites and being powerful?
Oh my God, Dan, you learn nothing in Euro.
Oh, I got
Seriously?
it. That's the one that Karl Marx hated, right?
No, Karl Marx created it.
Oh,
he wrote the
God.
Communist Manifesto, Dan.
Dan, Sheehy, do you even talk to Sheehy?
No.
Do you listen to Sheehy when he talks? Do you even know what
Sometimes.
liberalism is? Come on.
Liberalism, we already talked about this. I won't get it wrong a second time.
What is it?
It's about not staying the same.
Dan.
Dan, we use liberalism in our country today.
You know what?
Dan, there's literally 5 hours until the AP test, and you don't know any of it. You're screwed.
It's
I'm a master at
3:30
cramming.
a.m.
I'm a
Dan.
master at cramming,
You're
alright?
screwed.
I'm not screwed.
Dan, have we discussed all the isms yet? I think we should just leave Dan in the dust.
Yeah.
Leave him with the 2.
I know. Have fun with
If
your
he's
one,
lucky,
Dan.
yeah.
Look,
Go talk about isms with your 1.
maybe I will.
Have fun. What about socialism? Let's go, Dan. Come back in. Tell me about socialism.
Socialism, okay, I'll admit, I don't know that one, but I'll figure it out.
Right now?
Yeah, it's called Google.
Socialism is basically like communism, except the government doesn't control everyone. Everything's communally owned. Like,
What do you got, like a human Wikipedia over here? I think not.
yeah.
At least I'll have a
I
5.
don't.
5 for whatever. At the end of the day, who cares? I'll pass the test. You'll see. Finally got those AP test scores. I'm looking forward to this. Wait, I got a 1? How did I get a 1? I studied. I reviewed the PowerPoints. I listened to Sheehy. How did I get a 1? I got a 1!
So, as we can see from that video, these new ideologies, or the isms as some would call them, are seriously changing the ways that people think. On the one hand, you have the socialists, and on the other hand, you have the conservatives, completely thinking in different ways, but they both have valid points for government. Anyways, the next the next segment we're going to watch is about the new revolutions in Europe that happened in 1830 to 1848, which were largely fueled by these new isms, such as nationalism.
So, lately, everybody's been attacking me for, everything I do. All I was doing was persecuting liberals. Seriously? Nothing bad at all. People just overreact. I need to call Francesca to come support me. She owes me.
Ferdinand I is, making me really, really, really frustrated. I'm definitely talking to him about his issues. He needs a wake-up call for real. If Austria steps in one more time, I'm going to pound that girl so hard.
I'm literally so upset. Ottoman is such an idiot. He doesn't get it. He's so attached. I'm filing the divorce papers tomorrow.
Gosh darn Decembrists.
I'm so super, super, super happy. So Ottoman didn't want to leave, but I was babe, this is totally not working out. You're just way too controlling. We ended up in court, but after persuasion, I totally won. I love being single.
I'm Louisa, the new housewife in town. Some call me the queen, but everybody should call me the queen, because I am going to be here for a while. Daddy Charles gave me his throne and a ton of money, so I am so pumped. I know Francesca hates me, but honestly, I could care less.
I'm Francesca's newest friend. I mean, after everything, with Charles's daughter, why wouldn't she?
So, I was so upset when Luisa tried to step in and take over everything. And then Luisa Filippa stepped in, and she was so fake. I couldn't believe it, but I guess third time's a charm, and my new BFF, Luisa Napoleona. She's literally the best friend ever.
Are you kidding me right now? Seriously, all I want to do is be unified. But Austria keeps making this way too difficult than it has to be. Just give a girl a break, please.
I'm seriously trying to make this unification work, but if Wilhelm steps in one more time, I'm going to kill him. I don't care how long this takes as long as I get my unification.
The revolutions of 1830 and 1848 were much more of a turning point in history than people would think, because in European society it really created a new atmosphere in which ideas such as liberalism and nationalism and even socialism could thrive in the minds of the people, which were newly open to new ideas. Now, this all leads into the next age, called the Belle Epoque, aptly named because it literally means the beautiful age.
Alright class, the book we're going to be reading today and for the next while is called Swan's Way by Marcel Proust. So this book was actually one of the most famous books of the time period called the Belle Epoque. Does anyone know what the Belle Epoque was? Andrew.
Well, the dictionary says that the Belle Epoque was a period in European social history that began during the late 19th century and lasted until World War I.
Yes, very good answer, Andrew. That's why you're a top student in this class. Anyways, the Belle Epoque also saw a variety of changes in the way that people looked at things and thought of daily life. Sociology was changed by many people, such as Sigmund Freud.
It's Friday. Who are you, she?
Lily, would you like to stay after school today?
No, I'm sorry.
Anyways, getting back to the topic. I think that we really need to look at this time. So I'm sure you've all done your homework, and I'm sure that you can tell me what Sigmund Freud's first and most popular book was. Dan.
Are you talking to me? Of course I didn't do the web quest. Who does the web quest?
I bet you did your AP Euro homework though, didn't you?
Of course I did.
Well, what's the difference between our homework and his homework?
It's AP Euro. This is honors English. Pfft. Come on, man, get real.
Alright, you know what, now to someone that actually did their English homework. Lily.
The La Belle Époque was a period characterized by the new technological and medical discoveries and optimisms that occurred during the time of the French Third Republic and the German Empire. It was considered kind of to be like this golden age and like a sharp contrast to the trauma of later World War I, and it kind of like witnessed this great sort of peace, and there were a lot of new ideas that came about, and there were like many major scientific figures that had a huge impact. So some of them are Louis Pasteur, Joseph Lister, William Morton, Marie Curie, Max Planck, Albert Einstein, Ivan Pavlov, Max Weber, Friedrich Nietzsche, Charles Darwin, and finally, Ernest Rutherford. Oh hey, Mr. Mead, I think your phone is ringing.
Lily, school ended 4 hours ago. Why are you here? Hello?
This has
I'll
been
tell her.
the Mead Show.
No, she's here. She's okay.
The Belle Époque saw many new breakthroughs in the sciences, such as sociology, psychology, economics, and biology, as well as in literature and the arts. However, it's strange that such a beautiful age would lead into such a time as horrid as World War I. The causes of World War I are commonly explained in the acronym MANIA, meaning militarism, alliances, nationalism, imperialism, and assassinations. This, along with Pan-Slavism, which is the idea that all the Slavs are united under one, or should be united under one country, seemed to lead into the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and into the beginnings of World War I. Ultimately, World War I ended in the Treaty of Versailles, which would punish Germany, but however, it would not keep them down for long, as they would rise up again under Hitler in World War I because of the economic difficulty they were having at the time.
Have you ever wanted to become the greatest nation in European history? Have you ever wanted to conquer the world by promoting the concept of nationalism and the white man's burden? Well, then we have the game for you. Risk, imperialism version. With the new and improved imperialism version of Risk, you can take over the colonies and rule the world. You can choose to be any of the major European powers.
Okay. As Britain, I've taken over a majority of the world, even China. I remember it just like it was yesterday, when the treaties I benefited from said... Okay.
Time for some colonies. Vote for you, Great Britain. You go, Great Britain. And not Russia.
The best part about winning this game is that all the other powers get extremely jealous, especially France. She's always runner-up. I just can't help it, I'm such a popular country.
One time, my father got me a pair of colonies, but Britain said that imperialism was her thing, so I had to pretend like I didn't like them and gave them back. It was so sad. I always fall as runner-up to Britain. No matter how hard nationalism pulls our country together, no matter how much my citizens wish to share the glory of France with the world, Britain always finds a way to one-up me.
As Russia, I just gave up before the game even started.
Now, as one can see, the game is kind of fixed. There isn't really a way that anyone else will win besides Britain, just because they are so darn great. So if your friends end up taking global, meaning they don't really know anything about imperialism, and you want to make sure that you're going to win at the next game night with your friends, just make sure you pick up Risk Imperialism version. Make sure you pick Britain, and you are guaranteed a win for the night.
Today I have a very important decision to make. This really is not going to be easy. I can see myself peacefully negotiating with so many of you. I really just want to make everyone happy, but at the end of the day, I need to follow my heart and my 14 points. When I call your name, would you please step forward? Brittany. Will you please accept this rose, German colonies, and a reduced German navy that will never threaten yours again?
Of course I will.
Francesca. Would you please accept this rose, Alsace-Lorraine, reparations from Germany, a tiny German army, and a demilitarized Rhineland?
I'd love to.
Unfortunately, Japan could not be here tonight. We think she was sick, but we really aren't quite sure as we couldn't really hear her.
Ladies, this is the last rose tonight. Woodrow, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Italia. Will you please accept this rose and, this rose?
Okay.
Okay. Idle.
I'm sorry, Germancy. You did not receive a rose, and you also need to surrender all of your colonies as League of Nations mandates, return Alsace-Lorraine to France, demilitarize the Rhineland, pay £6.6 billion as reparations for the war, and take complete responsibility for causing the war. Take the time to say your goodbyes.
I'm so sorry. I mean, it had to be this way. I'm sorry, Germancy.
I just don't really understand. I don't think I did anything wrong. The war wasn't all my fault. The other girls in there were a part of it, but now I have to take all the blame. It's not fair. I didn't even get to go on the date to the Paris Peace Conference this week with all the other girls, so I don't think Woody got to know the real me or what I wanted. I'll get over it someday, but I'm not even hurt. I'm just really, really angry.
As Russia.
What? What the devil do you mean by self-consciousness?
This is the last rose of the night. Woodrow. Look. Oh. It says looks around! Alright? It says looks around!
So you say looks around out loud? You're like,
We have
to read it that whole thing.
And you can't say
you're
that
like Brick from the Anchorman.
It says looks around on the page.
Dan, you're like Ron Burgundy. You read everything.
You know what?
Ladies, this is the one last thing tonight. Woodrow. Woodrow looks around. Oh, anyway.
We need to talk about her.
Can we talk about that now instead of changing first?
But can we change first? Because